All right, do some division here. Got two types to work with. We can do this one first, and then we'll do this one. Monomial divisors. So for example, we might be dividing like an x squared minus 3x plus 12. And you can divide that by, say, an x, for example. So I set it up this way, divide by an x. And that means I can write separate fractions like this. I do this because it makes it easier. So this one reduces to x, this is minus 3, and this does not change. It's stuck like that. But that's how our answer is. That's how we leave it. So we've done the division. Okay, so anytime you have, let's say we have a 14x squared y squared minus, let's say 12x y squared, and then minus, let's say a 6x, and we're going to divide all that by 2xy, like that. Okay, so that means you have 4x squared y squared minus 12xy squared minus 6x, and they're all divided by this 2xy. So we're going to just write each of these separately, and then simplify each fraction in turn. Okay, so just careful to do all that. And now I'll start reducing each individual. This will be a 7xy. This one would be a 6y. And this one would be a 3. The x does cancel, x into x, but the y doesn't, so you'll leave the y like that. Okay, that is how we handle monomial divisors. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the next type, which is the, we have, well, non-monomial, so we'll say multinomial divisors. So we'll take an example here. Let's go with this. Let's divide x squared minus 4x plus a 7 by x plus 1. Well, let's make it a minus in this case. X minus, let's make it a 2. Okay, so here's how we do it, our setup. Set it up like this. Set up in standard form. So what we mean by that is, let's take a divisor, and then we take our dividend here, and set it up like this. Notice these are descending powers of the variable. Then I concentrate only on this, x and x to the second power. That's my first step. So I'm going to do a division. So my first step is divide. Okay, so I'll have an x squared over x, which is an x. Take that x now. That's going to be part of my answer. Okay, it's going to go up over here. I don't want to forget about it. Okay, now my second step is to take that number I just found there and multiply it times that divisor. Now, at first, you're gonna have to watch what we do here, because you might mix things up what you're doing, but after a while, it'll become routine if you do enough problems. Now, this is x squared minus 2x. In my third step, I am gonna add the opposite. In other words, the opposite of this. So in other words, I'll be doing this. And I'll put that over here. Okay, gonna add. So this will make a negative 2x plus a 7. Okay, now I look and say, well, should I keep going? And the answer is yes, you can keep going because this now can be divided into this. This is a higher power, so I can keep going. So I do. So I repeat my steps here now. 1. Remember, this was divide, this was multiply, this was add. So I'm going to do again. Divide. Negative 2x over the x is negative 2. Don't forget to put that negative 2 up here. It's going to be part of our answer. So second step, you're going to multiply. Take your negative 2 times your divisor, x minus 2. Okay, and we've got that number ready for a third step, which is going to be to add opposite. Add up. So you're going to add this. Put it over here. Add now. You get a 3 here. Notice every time you do this step, you should get a 0 for that first term. It should zero out. Sometimes you get other zeros also, but the first one definitely a 0. Now at this point, you have to ask yourself, do I keep going? And the answer is no. You have to stop when whatever this is a remainder. Every time we do the step, we get a remainder. If that remainder isn't big enough to continue dividing, then we stop. We've reached that point here. This remainder is not big enough because stop when the degree, and we know what degree means now, degree of remainder is smaller than degree of divisor. Okay, so most times students realize, oh, I ran out of variables. Okay, yeah, ran out of variables. But in other problems, you might have variables here, but not large enough powers to divide into. But for many of our problems, we see the variable does kind of disappear, but it doesn't have to. So remember that it might not in the future, but that's good enough for us. So now we have stopped there. We do have a remainder. There's our full remainder for the problem. We will write it. You can put it up here, R3, but more than likely, they will expect you to write your answer like this: x minus 2 plus a 3. Whoops. Not 3. Yeah, I'm sorry. Plus a 3 over the x minus 2. And that's how you write your answer. Okay, so we found this is what we would call the quotient. It's the quotient of what we started with and x minus 2. We did that division and got that. Okay, so now these take practice. You'll have to practice. Let's do another example. This one I want to show you something about placeholders for this. So let's say my problem is this. I want to divide x to the third minus x squared plus a 7 by x minus, we'll say x plus 2. Okay. In fact, yeah, let's make it x plus 2. Okay. So we set up x plus 2 like that. And that's an x to the third minus x squared. Now, I am going to deliberately skip over here and write plus 7. In other words, I'm skipping. I normally would see an x in here, right? In many other polynomials, you might. But there seems to be missing here, so I'll leave a little space there. The purpose of that is to make sure I don't add or subtract unlike terms by accident. So this gives me a space holder here. Placeholder, we'll say. Okay, to prevent issues later on. It's not a necessary step, but I would highly advise it. Okay, let's continue now. Okay, we're going to do this one step at a time. We'll take our x to the third over x. That's our first division. Okay, that's our first division. We want that x into that. Okay, and that gives us x squared. Put that over here. Okay, that's going to be part of our answer. We don't want to forget that. Second step. So that was the D step, divide. Second step is multiply. X squared times x plus 2. Well, that's an x cubed plus 2x squared. So in your third step, you're going to add, say, AO. So we got negative x cubed minus 2x squared. Put that over here. Negative x cubed minus 2x squared. And then you're going to add. First terms drop. We can write a 0 if we want, but this will give you negative 3x squared. And then there's nothing here, but we do have a 7 out here. Okay, so now got another division to do. This time we're going to go into this thing. Okay, x into that. Notice how we ignore the 7. We don't care about that. Just like in the first step, we ignore these other terms. We only were concerned about this in our first step. Here, we're only concerned about this one, the highest degree term. So in your next step, you're going to do, first of all, negative 3x squared divided by x, which is negative 3x. Second, you'll multiply negative 3x times an x plus 2. That's a negative 3x squared minus 6x. Third, you will add opposite. So you're going to work with this thing. I'm going to put it over here. Oops, I got an extra negative there. Don't want that. Okay, that goes. All right, so 3x squared, and then you got a 6x. Notice where I put it. Okay, right underneath the blank. So when I add these, I'll have a 6x and then a plus a 7. Okay, so I almost forgot. Don't forget to put that negative 3x up here. That's part of our answer. And part of our quotient. Okay, we got one more division, looks like, the way this is going. So we will divide 6x by the x, which is a 6. We will multiply 6 times the x plus 2. That's a 6x plus 12. We will add opposite, AO. So we're going to have this thing. It'll come over here, and then we'll add. So we get a negative 5. And notice our degree now is going below the degree. This is a remainder. It's going below the degree of the divisor, which was a 1. This degree has 0. So we are stopped now. And let's not forget our 6 up here as part of our answer. Okay, that was the 6 that we had over here when we did this division. So we can't forget those. Those are parts of our answers, right? X squared minus 3x and a 6. So how do we write our answer? We take x squared minus 3x plus a 6, and we write minus 5 over x plus 2. Okay, that's how we write our answer. All right, so that's the name of that tune. Okay, so let's go ahead. Next selection will be a shortcut for this, if you're up for it.